evening. This is a story. It's not necessarily Jesse James. He was accused of many things. But however, this is a first-hand account of a robbery that happened just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. And it's dated June 10th, 1888 by the Evening Bulletin, Maysville, Kentucky. A la Jesse James. This is the story of a gang of 4 men who robbed a train near the city of Delhi, or in Ohio. The train was a small one. It carried only about $1,000 cash. It was a short train which consisted of an engine, baggage car, smokers, and a ladies' coach. It had left about 8 a.m. that night. The conductor was William LaFleur. He was a veteran. James Boyd, engineer. Henry Fisher was the fireman. John Brickle was the brakesman. Joseph Ketchum, bagmaster, and Henry Zimmerman was the American Express. There were about 40 passengers. There were at least 4 men that were engaged in this robbery, and it was first seen by a lady as they left the depot. She noticed 4 men standing on the platform, and she didn't notice anything else. But a few minutes later, she looked up and saw 4 men standing at the glass door at the back of the car with revolvers pulling, and without warning, they started shooting. It was quick. They just went in and they began shooting, and was in a short distance from Delhi. They were firing through the glass and at the same time entering it. Now, Ketchman, who was a bright and brilliant physique, received 3 wounds, 1 in the neck and 2 in the groin, and it killed him. He fatally fell down. Express manager Zimmerman hurried from the car, a smoker, and informed Christopher LaFleur. They once pulled the bell cord to stop the train. The signal, however, was met with no response. The engineer had his hands full. He was in the middle of fighting one of the robbers himself, who came in with a revolver and said his money or his life. He had decided to fight him off, so he had taken a wrench and was in the process of attacking the man, but he was losing. Henry Fisher, the fireman, had taken charge of the engine while the engineer Boyd was fighting. But when he saw it was not working and he was losing, he reached over and helped. Between the 2 of them, they managed to throw the robber off the train, which at the time was going about 18 miles an hour. Ketchman was at once brought to his home at 19 Mill Street, and he was waited on the doctor, who was the company's surgeon. At 10 a.m., the doctors had removed the 2 bullets for his abdomen, and with very lot of skill, they were able to pull everything else. But his intestines of about 6 inches had been pulled from his body, and at the time they were doing work at a home with little anesthesia, no sterilization, and the prognosis was not good. The Henry Zimmerman, the American Express company manager, who had a narrow escape from death himself, had been seen at his home, and this is the following description he gave. This is a first-hand account of what happened. Ketchman and I were in the baggage car together. Just inside of Delhi, I looked forward and discovered through the glass of the door of 4 hands. So I said to Ketchum, "There's a pack of bums on the front platform." We walked forward and I opened the door. We were met by a regular volley of shots. Ketchum cried, "I am shot," and fell. While I leaned over to escape the next shots, I tried to get my revolver out of my pocket, but it was caught in the lining of my coat. I saw at once, though, that there was no way I was going to be able to fight them off. There were too many. When the volley was fired, which had wounded Ketchum, I noticed a man going toward the tender, toward the engine. Each of the fellows were masked with what appeared to be a kerchief, and it covered their mouth and nose. I'm not at liberty to discuss how much money was in the bank, but it was in the safe, but it wasn't worth robbing. Chief Deutsch and one of the telegraphs to 30 officers who were dispatched to the scene of the robbery by special train under the command of Lieutenant Gill. Orders have been given to spread and to arrest anybody looks suspicious within 2 miles of Delhi. This is big news. And Officers Packer and Rickman attempted to arrest a suspicious character, but he jumped out of a story window and escaped. S.H. Schultz, bricklayer that was living in Prince Hill, who was working in the New Catholic Church in Delhi, had furnished the most important clue, CLEW. While going before 6 a.m. through Moulton's Creek, near Seatonville, to catch a train, he discovered a big pool of blood in the pathway. He was sure the pool of blood was not there the night before. Seatonville is only an hour or 4 or 5 miles where the masked robbers had gone that night. They had gone in that direction, and the injuries and the blood seemed to indicate that the person that had been thrown from the plane probably did have some internal injuries. Sergeant Newman and several patrolmen that are stationed in Delhi visited the spot and think that they are searching the woods and neighborhoods. A party of 5 suspicious-looking characters were soon seen lying under a tree near Delhi Station Friday afternoon. They were seen by Ed Rose of Tayport, Kentucky, who said they were better dressed than tramps usually dress. All were smooth-faced except for one who had a slight mustache. They were also seen by Mrs. John Sable and John Troll and Walter Calloway, 2 village boys, and they were able to identify them at night. The police officers found a tin bottle and a flat boulder under the tree where the entire crew had been there the night before. The boulder looked smooth as though the parties had sharpened their knives on it. 4 suspicious-looking strangers about half an hour away that attempted another train robbery at Frank Copas, a saloon-keeper near Delhi, when a train would come along on the Ohio and Mississippi Railroad. He informed them that they saw them board the train and that he thinks that he would recognize them again. The citizens of Northman, Alderman, and the neighboring towns are greatly excited about the train robbery. Even the farmers for the miles around are entertaining the thought of helping out. A clue that has been found in the direction taken for the train robbers. Friday night, between 11 and 12, 5 farmers were coming along Delhi piles, about a quarter of a mile the other side of Delhi, driving in separate teams, when they were held up by 4 young fellows. The robbers said that they not wanted nothing but money. They obtained only 7 cents from one of the party. This is who was retired at the money hitched up and was relieved to know that he had no money. 4 men had been arrested at Arrows Field and were supposed to be the train robbers. They would give no good account of themselves. John Taft, bridge watchman, about 1.5 miles from Delhi, at 9 o'clock Friday night was attacked by 5 men who took away his revolver and knife. The news proceeded in the direction of Delhi. And that is the story of a train robbery by AKA Jesse James. I don't think it was, but we'll never know.